Team WUNAX Yugioh Podcast, where we blend competitive prowess with the joy of the game. Your host will be Cardboard, and in this podcast, we're diving into the thrilling world of competitive dueling. Join us as we break down the ever-evolving meta, analyze card choices, and share tournament preparation strategies, all while keeping the spirit of fun alive. Our collective of dedicated duelists, along with special guests, will guide you through the exciting journey of Yugioh. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a casual player, we're here to make sure you not only win, but have a blast while doing it. So stay tuned for more from Team WUNAX, because in this podcast, having fun is the name of the game.
I'm kind of not doing a lot of things right now. I took this day to rest myself.
Oh yeah, I suppose you had a busy weekend, right?
Yeah, remote duel sucks. You can't do anything because when you are not playing, you are just exhausted from playing. So,
well,
it's work. It's like a 10, 11-hour day at least. Of just commitment.
Yeah, day one were
full hour.
Day one were 11 hours of event, and day two went 5 hours of event, but we still had to make deck profiles, explanations, and everything else. So it also takes a bunch of time.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's very impressive what you're...
Really appreciate it. I was looking forward for my first win. This was my 10th top cut of YCS national events like those, and I'm glad I had my first win. It would be better to be in event from in real life event, but still I can't complain. My weekend was magic.
No, definitely we can't complain right when we get those dubs. I want to formally introduce myself. My name is JOHN BURD. I'm the CEO of Team WUNAX, and here next to me and my business partner, along with friend Cardboard.
They call me Cardboard because I do all the cardboard stuff,
Yeah.
Here at Cardboard Carnivores.
Anyway, we wanted to just reach out to you, man. I am a huge TEARLAMENTS enthusiast, and just seeing the way that you navigated to a win really impressed me. But not only that, I just wanted to get your take on what that side of the world is comparatively to this side of the world competitively.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can talk about this, of course. We would be very, very good.
Anything you'd like to add, Jake?
No, I just I would like to know what it was just basically like playing your matchups, of course, what it was like for your side decking, honestly I don't know the list, honestly. So I just really want to dive into the matchups, how you navigated through the Fire King, because I'm seeing a lot of Fire King at locals right now. Rescue Ace seems to just be broken when they're doing the set 4. It's Yu-Gi-Oh seems super chaotic, and there's so many good decks. So it's like I said, I'm very impressed too that you're able to do it with Tier, because it's just a deck that people don't expect to play and dismiss.
Or they thought he was dead now.
Because I do that.
I just sent it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you did. Dope. Yeah,
we could pull it up.
Peak.
Well, yeah, we can definitely talk about it.
Oh yes.
Okay, so starting off, how
the
was it?
Horus cards, I love it.
What was probably your most difficult matchups day one, and what you felt like going into the tournament?
Okay, so we are already recording, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, sure. My worst matchup is 100% those hard combo decks like Vanadium. I went 7-1-1 on day one. It was a 9 rounds event, and my only loss on Swiss was to Vanadium. I drew with Chimera because I didn't have the access to battle phase. I was trying to battle phase, and he's effects, and then the time just ended. But yeah, should be my game. So every Fire King matchup and Labyrinth matchup feels like it's quite easy to win. The matchups are kind of free to us, so no problems, because the way they interact with you is it's not very good. Like, they are probably going to pop a few cards. They're probably going to try to make some interactions that doesn't negate, but try to play through your field. So when you have a deck that's full gas, like TEARLAMENTS, you can dig into a lot of fields. And this is proved by the fact that I lost all my dices except by 3. So I played 14 rounds and I lost 11 dices. So
wow, 11 dice rolls.
Yeah, I just won 3 of them.
But I bet you that extra card.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm just saying sometimes I bet you like that extra push, you know, especially when you have a card like Droplet, you know, just being able to use that main deck Droplet and, you know, the Mseti and like the Fenrir to break boards. Like I can already see it now, like the advantage of, you know, being able to like play first or second.
Yeah, it ended up paying off super, super well because our theory about choosing the TEARLAMENTS deck is that you have the ability to break over all boards you need. So if you can break through all the boards you actually need, there is nothing much that really, really scares you up. And the matchups that really, really scares you up is like Centurion and Manadium. And you try to dig in to choose matchups with your side deck cards, like for example, Draw and Lock Bird. But even those decks, they aren't like super, super popular. So you can try to just like lose one of them on the Swiss and hopefully you don't get any of them on the top cut. Because you're playing a super, super diverse format. Like we don't have any deck that made more than 5 appearances on the top 32. So this is a very, very weird radius. So you're gonna play against a lot of decks, but most of them, they are like mid-ranges.
So
basically just full send it, like don't fear it. Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's a really nice theory, I think, to like, you know, your bad matchups, like you're not gonna like just let it get to you or like overside or, you know, just like, you know, worry about that. Like you're just doing the thing that your deck does, you know. Like and I do like your side deck too, because that was one thing I was very interested in, and it's cards that like I'm already playing half those cards. And Super Poly is something I wanted to talk about too, because I'm just on the fence of it, and we as a team have talked a lot about it back and forth, and you know, I just wanted to know also maybe like, you know, how that paid off for you too.
Yeah, Super Poly was very, very cool to me, and honestly the card overperformed to me because, okay, it's not the best card to make main deck, because if you go for main deck Super Poly, you are probably gonna have the card dead in a lot of matchups. For example, the Rescue Ace matchup, I ended up not playing with any Rescue Aces, it was funny, but since you have a very good matchup over Fire King, Labyrinths, you don't need to play a card like Super Poly that is just good in those kind of matchups. You can just try to go for the side deck. And it's also very good against Centurion, very good against Vanadium. So you just try to do your best with the cards you have in your main deck. And Droplet is like generically good. You have a deck that has a lot of value out of graveyard cards, like your Shufflers, Malicious, Shayama. So if you have the card that can also send and it's not terrible going first, I think that's the better option.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense for sure.
Did you build this deck by yourself, or was there any theory between your team and your guys?
Yeah, so this deck is mainly a Santiago Marin idea. He's the guy from Colombia that made top 4 at Worlds this year. He played Dragons at Worlds, and he also played TEARLAMENTS. We talk a lot because we play test a lot together, and I was vibing with Labyrinth, but then I started feeling weird because Labyrinth was getting a lot of hate, and he told me like, okay bro, TEARLAMENTS, there is something here. Let's try this build, let's approach this deck again, let's retry it, because I feel like there is something here that can make it work. And in fact, it did work. So many of the ideas there, I just got ideas from Santiago, and then I just confronted him with why this, why not this, why are playing this, why are playing this, and then we kind of made the best build possible. And it paid off because he won the biggest Bogota regional in Colombia. He made 8 wins and 1 draw. I made top 8. I have the biggest Brazilian regional ever. I made 7-2, and now I win the YCS remote duel. It was like in 3 separate weekends with the same cards on main deck, with the same cards in extra deck, except by the second Bahamut. Yeah, of course. And we just like changed 7 cards from our side deck from the regionals we played into the YCS, and that's all.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, the deck
Very
really
impressive.
overperformed to us, and that's especially because the people are not expecting tier. If everyone puts here in like, okay, this deck doesn't work anymore, you have so much pressure over your deck, and you're not taking the hate that people would actually play. Even though I played with a lot of shifter decks, from my top 16, top 8, top 4, and finals, I played 4 shifter decks. So it was kind of hard. The decks with shifter overperformed for some reason.
So you're seeing like you played like Kashtira or like Rabina.
Top 16
Yeah,
was
what are the
Kashtira.
shifter decks?
Yeah, top 16 was Kashtira, top 8 Sprite, top 4 and finals were Vanquish Souls.
Wow. I totally
Oh,
forgot
wow.
Vanquish
Vanquish Souls
again.
in the finals.
Yeah, I managed to play back-to-back.
These are decks that you
Vanquish Souls.
played on.
Yeah, they are.
Oh wow,
They are.
that's crazy.
And even funnier because I played against 2 Vanquish Souls, and as I said, I just won 3 dices over the entire event. The dice I won on Swiss was against Pearly, and I took Draw, Ash, Vader, and Happy OTK on the same turn. I still managed to win the match on game 3, okay? But like I won the dice roll and I got destroyed. And top 4 on finals, I won both dice rolls, and they were super in clutch. This is a matchup that's kind of weird. Like you take out so much value of the Vanquish Soul, the deck is like so scary. So it was very important to win this dice.
Yeah, I see in your side deck you was playing 3 nib and 3 droll. Like, can you explain a little bit on why you didn't main the nibs as opposed to some other tier players I've seen in the past go for nib in the main and opposed to the droplets? Like, I know droplets has relatively come back into the meta, but as consistency, why didn't you choose nib in the main?
So basically, you don't need to play. You can't play a lot of non-engine. First of all, so you need to choose the one you are gonna choose, since you just have 3 slots for them. But we choose our droplet because it's the most generic one. If you have a very wide and open meta call, you need to be the better possible for game 1s on each matchup. Nibiru is not that bad, but it feels like it's so dead in a lot of matchups where the people can play around it. Even against Fire King isn't that good because sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Should be more like on which build your opponent's playing. So we didn't want to get your chances of our only non-engine card that we can play being something that should be dead. Like you can't have this opportunity to draw a dead card in TEARLAMENTS, especially if it's a dead card that's not gonna help you to break the boards.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Also, another thing we notice here, you got the Bigfoot, but I see no rank 8. So I don't know if that was just like a decklist error or like, can you explain that theory behind it?
Okay, so we made the register by the Yugioh registration site, and that website actually sucks. So when I was filling out my deck list, by mistake, I put in 2 Bahamut Sharks and no Zombie Vampires. That was absolutely my fault, but I messed it up.
No.
But there is a zombie vampire. Okay.
No, should have been. On Friday before the event, I just went to look through my deck list. I just like get my cards and look if everything fine. Like, okay, there is one Kaleido, one Garura, and then one Bahamut. Like there was 2 Bahamuts. I was like, oh no. And I had to play without Zombie Vampire, but that's why we played Bigfoot. Originally, Bigfoot's very good because it's a level 8 to make for Zombie Vampire. And besides that, has a very big attack, can force out a lot of interactions over the field. Like, if you make Bigfoot effect in hand, it can also force out a Spiliro Knight, for example. It's rank 8, it can force Baron too, because you can just crash into Baron. And sometimes if you discard it with Super Poly, you can also pop a card. I had this play coming through my Pearly matchup because I had like Dimensional Fisher, and I Super Poly them, and then with my Shearing and
my goodness.
Pitching Bigfoot triggers, and pop the Fisher.
Wow. Excellent. But you would play a zombie vampire as opposed to the 2 Bahamut Shark that are here.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I feel like even the people asked me like, okay, so why didn't like you just play the zombie vampire and get a game loss somehow. But yeah, I was like, no, there is no point in doing this. This is a remote duel. I'm just gonna chill and play 2 Bahamut Sharks. And I'm glad this got us good karma because yeah, it ended up paying off.
Yeah, man, no, and that's
it's good
awesome.
to double check.
Yeah.
No, it's scary because if you don't like double check, like we're so fast, like as Yu-Gi-Oh players, just like assembling, like getting the last cards we need, like putting like our deck list together. Like it's the prime example of like how you can get like screwed over. Like I once had 16 cards in my extra deck because I just forgot to pull out the card that I was cutting, and the tournament started and I lost a game because of that. So it's like it can make a big impact if you're at a YCS. Like, you know, it's unfortunate you couldn't play ideally exactly what you wanted, but I mean it's a good thing that you were, you know.
Yeah, it was good. I looked it out and get me good karma, so I'm glad about my decision.
The Metanoid, why do you still play it as opposed to some tier players straying away from it?
Metanoid is actually the trap card you are willing to search out of Scream. It feels up like so important to have a second trap name. It could be crime. Yeah, because like sometimes you add one with Scream and then you can manage to get to Beatrice, and Beatrice sends Trivi Karma, and Trivi Karma gets another trap. So no big worries. And usually if we have to just search one, we have to search or Scream or Metanoids. We usually go for Metanoids because the card makes it through 2 interactions. Like it's gonna be the one interaction to set and probably gonna make a Dragostapila, for example. So not very hard, but very, very, very important.
Thank you for that take. I really hadn't seen it from that perspective. Also, I see you're playing 3 Scream. You feel now that there's no millers in the deck that it's mandatory to run 3 Scream?
Yeah, I feel like you have to maximize all your TEARLAMENTS engine. Like, there is no reason to not play 3 offs of all the TEARLAMENTS cards that are also good to mill and also helps you play. So, like Sully, Screams, those kind of cards should be maximized.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing theory. I don't see a denier in here. What made you choose not playing the denier?
There is no point on playing Denier, honestly, because you don't have enough links to make. Denier is very, very good to make link summons, but not usually good to make fusion summons. And we don't play enough links to justify playing Denier, so it's just weird. But it's bad. The card's bad.
Okay. And then I see you have a Seline. Also, that's kind of an interesting take. Like most people, I've never seen a Seline in a tier list. Like, what's your theory behind that? Or you and Santiago's theory behind that?
So Seline was a very, very good call at the end because it can make you go into access code, and access code is like a fucking machine. You won so many games just because you have the access code with you. So it's not very, very hard to see the lines, because sometimes you just need to turn 2 monsters into a big beater, and then you go for Dark reborn something, you go for Seline reborn Imseti, go access code, and then 2 monsters just randomly turn it into a pop 2 50p attack.
Wow. It seems like you guys put a lot of thought into this. I see
We practiced like a lot for this event. We tried like everything. King of the Swamp, Ash in main deck instead of Droplet, Nibiru in main deck instead of Droplet. We tried it a lot.
Why no King of the Swamp?
The card sucks, honestly.
Really?
The card is like so bad. It doesn't make you get into much value, and it takes up a very important slot over your engine. So there is like no big reason to really play into it. Like it's way you're gonna play like King of the Swamp, and then and more important than that, it's gonna eat a lot of very, very important extra deck stuff. So your extra deck is like so tight. It should have been Zombie Vampire, of course, but besides the second Bahamut, I think I summoned every card from my extra deck at least 3 times, up to more.
Yeah, I see you have the IP too, so like less optimal play, so you get that indestructible SP. Like I felt questionable about that, but like, can you explain to us like where the IP fits into the formula?
In a few matchups, like for example Pearly, it's way better to have the banish of SP plus the second effect to banish SP and the opponent monster, because sometimes you're gonna dig into like Pearly Street, for example. Against Kashira is another matchup where it's way better to have SP Little Knight. Matchups where you can dig into two kinda of interactions, and that's gonna be better than having just one. In a few matchups, I know like Vanquish Soul, for example, is a matchup that is better to have a single SP Little Knight than a Masquerina to make SP, because if they resolve Raisin, for example, they are going to have the way to out your banish from SP Little Knight. So yeah, it depends on the matchup, but there is reasons where you should play both of them, so you can get yourself the option to play them.
Yeah, I also see you have the Dark. I suppose that's probably specifically to steal SPs and other zombie vampires and other crazy monsters. Can you dive a little bit on your matchups and how Dark came into play?
Okay, so first round my opponent didn't appear. Second round I played against Pearly. I 2-1 him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting to my Twitter. I posted everything there.
Oh no worries. We'll give you. Take your time.
I 2-1 Pearly round 2. In round 2, this like kind of helps because there is like the Dark Pearlies, and you can. The main thing about Dark is like it's gonna make two monsters into access code more than anything else. So you need to have it there. But round 3, I played against Orcust, and it summoned back a Dingirs to send a card. It was like crazy value out of this.
That is beautiful.
Wow. Round 4, I played against Fire Kings, and Fire Kings is like the freest matchup for this deck. This deck just destroys Fire King by itself. There's nothing very special you have to do. The matchup is like so free for you, so no issues. Round 5, I played Fire King again, and I won game 1. He got game lost game 2 because he camera froze out. Round 6 was Pearly again. Fine matchup. Round 7, Labyrinth. Labyrinth is other free matchup. Like, it's very easy to beat Labyrinth. Was a 2-0. Round 8, I lost to Manadium. I lost dice roll. This matchup sucks. Cry.
Didn't open any draws, huh?
Yeah. And I even did, but he had cross out. So yeah, I never had a chance.
Yeah, no.
And then round 9, I drew against Branded Chimera. It was a matchup where, as I said, I had to declare battle phase, and I couldn't get into battle phase before the time ends. So yeah. Then top 32, I got to play against Orcust. I 2-0'd him. Very funny because it was like 40 minutes game 1. And then game 2, I just did like quick damage, and he lost the game.
Wow. So you guys grinded it out that first game.
Yeah. This happened a lot, honestly. Like, the TEARLAMENTS deck, it's gonna sound funny, but the way you can grind the matchup so cool, because you're probably going to get back into your deck the cards that are the best ones over your strategy. Like Merleys are coming back for your main deck, and the bad cards on a grindy game situation are probably going out over your mills. You're probably going to mill out your droplets. So in a situation where you need to have a crazy top deck, you are most likely going to have a crazy TEARLAMENTS top deck than a one-off Forbidden Droplet that kept up on your deck. And then, like, it's also important because this deck has a very efficient access to plays to do if you are going under time. So you can do Sprint into Scattershot, you can also do Beatrice into Scattershot, you can randomly mill the Scattershot. So this is another advantage. Like, it's important. I think it's very important in a very diverse format, and it's a format that also takes a lot of time to play. The decks aren't quick. They do a lot of steps to make their field. So if you have an opportunity to have an answer for the time rules, is also very important.
Yeah, I see that Scattershot there. How many times did you Scattershot people?
I was just gonna ask that.
On my regional, I won 4 games with scattershot. It was like crazy. I had 4 matches I won with scattershot. But on this event, I think I won 2 times. 2 times. One in top 4 and one in top 16.
One of my favorite interactions.
I had a similar
Go ahead.
idea. Oh, I was gonna say there's a resonator. It's the one that lets you special summon a level 4 lower monster from your hand when you normal it, and just like, well, us and other teammates play Bestial Horus, so it's like being able to just like gain life. It's what's the one that Sprite was playing? They would pull it out of their deck. I can't think of the red resonator. I think it's the one that lets you gain life. So it's it's kind of similar, you know, but you'd have to hard draw it, and tier you just get ascended, you know. So
if you hard draw it too, like one of my favorite interactions is Sadi sends Scattershot. Like it's one of the craziest interactions, like I think in tier elements.
Yeah, it's very, very important. Usually I try to don't do... It all depends on matchups, it all depends on what I'm playing against, but if you open, for example, let's see, Imseri and like Scattershot and any random card that can special summon itself, it's better for you to do Scattershot, to do Imseri discarding, not Scattershot, and then after that, if you can like sharing pitches Scattershot, or you can normal summon Scattershot to linger them out, because then that way you don't lose to Crow in a Scattershot. That's very important to look.
I see. You're trying to bait that, or trying to protect your Scattershot or your win condition as much as possible.
Yeah, it's very important to do. If you have the opportunity to don't lose for some random cards, do it. Like it's not gonna hurt my game plan doing that, and it's gonna make my game plan even better. So
yeah, definitely.
I had a question. Shuffling over to the shufflers, I was actually consider running those because I do so much like discarding in my own deck. Did they like, how effective were they in your matchups? I know I was gone for a little bit here. I had some technical problems, but if I missed anything, but yeah, I considered running those. So I just wanted to know like your thoughts on, you know, how maybe like another deck playing them, or you know, if you know, how effective they were during this tournament.
yeah, so the card went like very, very efficient to me, because it can get back to your deck important resources, and even for your extra deck important resources, but many decks on the format relives on their graveyards to try to dig into more interactions. That's the case of Fire Kings, for example. They are probably going to have Garunix in graveyard. They're probably going to have Ponix and Baron on their graveyard that they hope to trigger way, way more times. So the shufflers work pretty much well on this kind of situation.
Okay, nice. No, that's exactly what I was thinking of, because I play a lot of Fire King, and it's a very powerful deck. So I know that answers that. So it's just nice when the cards like you want to have cards, every card that you use like should be able to do something, you know. So I just don't want to play it like as a brick, and if I do play it as like just something to normal summon and link off, or you know, just using it as that fodder, like is it gonna be effective enough and like worth it, you know? That's pretty much, because I'm playing like the Bestial Horde.
It's not like black and white for this card situation, because on TEARLAMENTS it's way more important the cards you have in your deck for the mills than the cards you are actually gonna draw. You are gonna see way more cards being milled than cards getting drawn. So you need to have good mills. If you have your deck that relives on drawing the shufflers, you need really to consider if you have a good option for these cards. I think it's very good in Runic decks, for example. It's very decent to play in Runic decks, but not very good to play, for example, in decks that doesn't have a discard mechanic over their engine, or a mill mechanic over their engine.
Right. I'm sure you see it a ton with like Zombie Vampire and stuff, like, because when you already do some mills and then you hit with Zombie Vampire, I bet that's like a fourth of your deck, like at some points.
Yeah. Sometimes you just mill like 4 effects, and that's crazy.
I wanted to follow up.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I wanted to follow up on why you didn't play Pressure Planet, and like I see some builds play 1 copy. Do you
Hard-
not see any advantages in that card?
Hard lose to draw, and as I explained, this deck doesn't matter. Honestly, the cards you are gonna draw. The most important thing are the cards you have in your deck. So you have to try to maximize your good mills. That's why you are not playing Foolish Burial, not playing Foolish Burial Goods, because these cards are just terrible to mill. Even then, if they are just like good to draw, they are not good enough to draw to justify playing them.
See, that's probably why you don't have like a transactional rollback or like Ghost
Yeah.
Meets Girl. What do you think about those cards?
Like they get in a very specific situation where they try to get some matchups that are already very good to you way better. And so if you are going first and you already did all your combo stuff, and then you are gonna make a Beatrice trying to link it out to make a Speed Little Knight, to send the rollback from deck, sorry. There is like just no reason to do it. Like if you're pitching Beatrice over your opponent's field on his turn, you already won that game. What's gonna happen most of the times? You're gonna draw the traps from transaction rollback. You are gonna mill them where you needed to mill a random TEARLAMENTS effect. This kind of stuff is gonna happen. It's a 2-card combo on your graveyard. You are not that consistent going to make Beatrice. You are not that consistent going to mill them. So there is no way that justifies it.
I see.
That's good.
It's a really good explanation.
Because you want to play rollback, don't you, John? That's why you wanted
No,
it
I
from
do.
me, didn't you?
I do,
'Cause you're
but-
about to play this deck.
I have
You
tested
were
it. No, I have tested it, and I am a very
Yeah, it's a
big
crazy
tier
card.
enthusiast. It is.
It just feels too gimmicky though. Like how he explained it is literally like kind of gimmicky. You know what I mean? Like to jump through these like hoops and stuff. And that's why I think it was so overhyped for like the lab deck. You know, because they have to like really draw the nuts to I think like do that. I mean that's just still me in theory thinking that. So I don't know if that's the case or not, or if it's already seen success. But yeah.
Yeah, but I suppose for like a YCS, right, Raphael, like you need to maximize on the best cards in your deck.
Yeah, 100%. Like you can't have the opportunity to draw bad cards, and especially in TEARLAMENTS, as I said, the cards you draw are not that important. The cards you mill are way more important. So you have to pay a lot of attention for this.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any closing thoughts, Cardboard?
I'm happy that we got to talk to you and get, just some good info on this deck. It just looks really powerful. I'm like looking at it and just it looks like any combination of cards just looks like nice, and you have like the good going first cards, good going second cards, like specifically Fenrir and Forbidden Droplet. Those cards I was kind of on the fence about, but clearly they work really well this format. So yeah, it's just cool to talk to you, and thank you for sharing the experience.
It's always my pleasure. Guys, just please check out my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel where I make Portuguese content. It's called Right Yugioh. We have 10K subs, and it would be very nice to expand this for 11K. So yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Let's
problem.
do it. Let's get you guys up to 11K.
We're gonna give you a shout out here from Team WUNAX and everybody in our team. We appreciate you and everything you've done for us on this podcast. Everyone that's on this live right now, please go subscribe to Right Yugioh. You can see it right here on the screen next to his profile. Thank you so much for coming on our show today, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you sometime in the future.
I also hope so. Thank you so much, guys, for inviting me, and thank you so much for this conversation.
No problem.
Take care, man. Good luck. Tear it up out there.
TEARLAMENTS strongest.
TEARLAMENTS
Thank you so much,
strongest,
guys.
baby.